This car looks like what would happen if the Cayenne and the 911 had sex. Do you know how to pronounce Porsche? If you're not sure how to pronounce it, just take a moment, try to make a guess. Is it Porsche or is it Porsche? Hey, what's up guys, Said here. So back to the pronunciation. If you are not sure how to pronounce the brand of this car, it's actually pronounced Porsche. Porsche. Okay, and if you don't believe me, I actually have a link to the YouTube video that Porsche themselves made to clarify doubts about how to pronounce their name. By the way, if you or any of your friends or family have a wedding coming up, you can rent this Porsche Panamera. More details in the description below. Now, some of you actually asked for a Porsche Cayenne review, and I couldn't get a Cayenne, so we have the next best thing, which is the Panamera. I'll get a Cayenne maybe in the next few weeks, I hope. I'll keep you posted once I get my hands on a Cayenne. If you want updates, do follow us on Instagram because that's where we post updates before we do any reviews. So you'll know what review is coming up next before anyone else on YouTube does. Okay, so now back to this car. This Panamera, the name Panamera actually comes from this old race they used to hold back in like the 50s or 60s or something. It's the Pan American race. So that's where they got the name from. So the Panamera that I have today is the 2010 model. This is the 3.6 litre V6 Panamera. So this is kind of like the base model Panamera. Base model already comes with a 3.6 litre V6. Anyway, this is the first gen Panamera, and with the Panamera lineup you get a lot of variants. You get the Panamera 4, Panamera 4S, Panamera Hybrid, Panamera Turbo, Panamera Turbo S. So the base model Panamera is this one, the 3.6, and the top spec variant of the Panamera is the Panamera Turbo S, which comes with a 4.8 litre twin turbo V8 if I'm not wrong. But this is like the base model, so it only has a 3.6 litre V6. So some quick specs for this car. This car comes with 296 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque. It does 0 to 100 in about 6.3 seconds, which isn't very fast by Porsche standards. And top speed on paper it will do 261 kilometers an hour, which again for Porsche is nothing too spectacular. This car is stock, by the way, no modifications whatsoever. It's fully stock. Now the Panamera also comes with a 7-speed PDK transmission, which is this one. What does PDK stand for? It stands for Porsche Doppelkupplungsbetrieb. Porsche Doppelkupplungsbetrieb. This PDK transmission comes as standard if you opt for the all-wheel drive variant. If not, this Panamera comes with rear-wheel drive and you don't get the PDK. It's an optional extra basically. By the way, the Panamera is Porsche's best-selling model after the Macan and the Cayenne, which are the SUVs basically. First, let's talk about the exterior design. This car looks like what would happen if the Cayenne and the 911 had sex. Now, the design of this car is quite controversial. If you watched Top Gear before, there was one episode where they were criticizing the looks of this car. And I don't blame them. This isn't the prettiest car out there. Even like Porsche's own CEO admitted in an interview that they made some mistakes with the Panamera in terms of the designs. In other words, he's trying to say that the Panamera is ugly. Now, if you think this car doesn't look that bad, then you're in the same boat as me, because personally, I don't think this is an ugly car. An ugly car would be something like the Fiat Multipla, the MPV, which is this one. Or another one would be something like the, sorry to say this, Nissan Juke. That car just looks weird to me. It's like the design is like all over the place. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, sorry to all Nissan Juke owners out there, but yeah. This car also looks pretty big and bulky. Now take a moment. Look at this picture of the G30 BMW 5 Series. Does it look bulky? If you're thinking no, then good, because that's what I'm trying to prove. This car has about the same length and wheelbase as the 5 Series, But where the 5 Series looks more sleek, more athletic, this car looks a bit more puffed up. Interior quality wise, it's a Porsche, so it's really good. This car is almost 10 years old, and as you can see, the materials and all are still holding up very well. I can't find any cheap plastics anywhere in this car whatsoever. One thing I don't understand is the placement of the buttons. For example, the parking sensors are placed on top here. Another thing is that this is a Porsche, it's supposed to be sporty, but your handbrake is over at the side here. It's not in the middle. But other than these two things, the material quality is really good. The car feels very well put together, and it's a very nice place to be in. Practicality wise, the door bins aren't the biggest. You can see it's not very big. Center compartment is about average as well. But the glove box is pretty big. Rear seat space is very good. You can see I have a lot of leg room here. The aircon is also in a very strategic position. I get a lot of headroom as well. It's really good. Okay, so on the road, how does this car feel? How does it drive? It's quite impressive actually, because number one, the steering is super light. It's really light. It's like almost effortless. And it's quite amazing how a car this big and bulky is able to handle so well. The steering is super sharp, like small adjustments. I'm making small adjustments and the car responds like effortlessly. Effortlessly. It's really effortless basically. Like the car, it's as if it's natural for the car to do this. For such a big and bulky car, the Panamera handles really well. There's no body roll, very sharp, very responsive steering. You don't feel the bulk of the car, you don't feel the weight. It's so agile, it feels very agile. You can put it into sports mode here, and you can adjust the dampers. I'm putting the dampers now in Sports Plus. In sports mode, obviously you want to go fast, so it drags the gears and then upshifts at about 4000 RPM or so. It doesn't drag all the way to red line, but it's still very comfortable, even in Sports Plus. Also, the car is super comfortable. I drove the Bentley like a few weeks back, and I get the same kind of feeling with that Bentley. It's really comfortable, it's really smooth. Okay, so performance wise, the Panamera doesn't really feel that quick. I'm flooring the car actually. Even in manual mode, right now the car is in manual, I'm shifting it manually. It doesn't feel very quick. But then again, this is the base model Panamera, so I don't expect it to be mind-blowingly quick. I don't feel like I'm driving a sports car either, but for a family car, it's really good. Well, it's just so comfortable, man. Really, very comfortable. You also don't get a lot of wind noise. It's very quiet inside here. It's well insulated. Maybe just a bit of tire noise, but no, very negligible. Not a lot of tire noise either. Visibility wise, it's okay. It's not fantastic because the rear windows are quite narrow, so visibility out the back is quite limited. But other than that, I can see pretty well out of the car. So overall, what do I think of the Porsche Panamera? It's a very good family of 4 car. So if you have 4 people in your family, this car is really wonderful. If you have more than that, then I'm sorry, you have to look elsewhere. What I like about the car, number one, it provides a very sporty drive. It's a wonderful car to drive. You still get that Porsche kind of feel, and at the same time, you get a very comfortable car as well. So I think if you take this car on long journeys, you drive it for over long distances, it's gonna be a wonderful and comfortable experience. What I don't like about the car, the design, I mean, I'm not saying it's an ugly car like I mentioned, but from certain angles the car looks a bit weird to me. What I dislike about it is that it's not really this car's fault. This is the base model Panamera, so the engine It's a good engine, it's very smooth and all, but it's not as powerful as I thought it would be. I don't feel like the engine is underpowered. It doesn't provide the full Porsche experience. If you want like a proper Porsche experience, you want to know what it's like to own a Porsche, then I think you shouldn't get this car. You should get the more high-end variant like the Turbo or Turbo S. That will give you a very good Porsche experience. Driving this car is like eating the crust of a pizza. You're still eating a pizza, but you're only getting the crust. You're not at a good part yet. I think one of the reasons why the Panamera sells so well is because of its branding. It's a Porsche, so it's not as common as your BMW, Mercedes. So it has like that branding, you know, it's more premium than a BMW or Mercedes. It's like sort of the exclusivity, because it's again a bit more expensive than your typical BM, Mercedes. So you'll see less of this car on the roads as compared to, you know, your BMW, Mercedes, Audi. Let's not forget Audi. So yeah, it's for people who want to stand out a bit more. Number two, I think it's because of the practicality. This car is, for a Porsche, it's quite practical. You can fit 4 adults comfortably, and you know, over long distances, this car does really well. If you have a family and you want to get around in style, this is a car that you may want to consider. Anyway, that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Do like, share, comment. Do like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Porsche Doppelkupplungsgetrieb.